Yeah, I have 5 kids. I have older ones, younger ones. I'm right in the middle of the whole deal. So listen, what I'm about to say to you, I don't want you to think I just flippantly say it off the cuff. What I'm about to say, I have said to my own children, not all of them. But I believe that these are some things that you really need to think about. Now, hopefully I can inject some humor in it as we go along. But I want you to know that I've thought about what I'm about to say here. And this is how we're going to do it. We're going to give one to the ladies, start with the ladies, one to the guys, and then we'll go back and forth like so. And I will say this, as I'm about to say some of these things, for some of you in here, you're going to think this has nothing to do with me. It's not me at all. Okay, that's cool. That's all right. Some of you, though, will register, and I want you to think about it as we go through. Some of you might think, you know what, he just said for the ladies should probably be on the guys' ledger. That's fine, too. But I'm just calling it as I see it, as I look over the landscape. And without further ado, are you ready? Put your seatbelt on, because I don't know if you really are. Ladies, here's your number one thing I think that you need to know. And listen, as I say these things, I have more to add to it. So I'll say it, and then I'll wait for you, and we'll go on a little bit more. Ladies, guys, if you think I'm hitting the nail on the head, feel free to clap and cheer if you would like. Here we go. Ladies, not before. Ladies, your number one is this. If you choose to wear shirts that show off your boobs, you will attract boys. The guys are clapping up here. Ladies, listen. Listen, what I'm trying to say is, and you know what I'm talking about, if you choose to wear that kind of shirt, then what you will do, you will attract the kind of boy that likes to look down girls' shirts. And if that's what you're after, that's what you're going to get, so keep doing it. But ladies, I think there's a lot of ladies in this room that think they want attention, but what they really want is respect, and the two are not the same. Ladies, hear my heart on this. I think this is some of the truest stuff you can hear. Put this over top your door, write it in your journal, because this is absolutely true. Anything you say or do to get attention, anything you say or do to get attention, the shallowness of anything you say or do to get attention will be equal to the shallowness of the person that's attracted to it. Guys, you're number one. It's your turn. All right, guys, here's your number one, ladies. Your turn to clap if I'm hitting the nail on the head. Guys, number one, you are not the coolest person ever, not even close. Oh, now the guys are mad. Okay. Guys, listen, here. I'm just saying this, guys. If you feel that you're all that, if you think that you're one of those people that is pretty much untouchable, that people have to actually ask permission in order to talk to you, if you're that kind of person, if you're that kind of person, guess what? You're always going to have some friends. There's always going to be a couple guys that have no personality of themselves, so they leech onto yours for whatever it's worth. But here's my fear. Guys, if you walk around with that mentality, my fear is this, that you will end up being that guy that's 39, living in your mama's basement, eating Cheetos, playing Wii. Isn't this fun? It's fun. Ladies, number two. Ladies, number two. Ladies, this is a newsflash. The number of times that you say, I hate drama, is a pretty good indication of how much you love it. Oh, I know I offended the girls there, right there. Woo. Hey, I told you I wanted to have an honest conversation. And ladies, here's the deal. I have people on my Facebook all the time going back and forth, back and forth. And all I think to myself is, listen, if you do not want drama, don't create it. Don't create it. I believe that everybody in this room, you have enough real-life drama that happened in your life right now without even you orchestrating it, that you don't have time, nor the energy, nor the intellect to dip your hand into somebody else's life and stir the pot. That's your number 2. Guys, you're number 2. Guys, number 2, person, not parts. Some of you will have to ask someone later about what I'm talking about. Hey, men, listen, hopefully I'm approaching this a good way for you to hear it. I know some of you are going to push back on this, but can I just be honest with some leaders here? Because even though we're dressed up in FBLE gear, can I simply be honest? And I know it includes ladies too, but men, here's the deal. If you think that what you're doing right now sexually is not going to impact your future, you're dead wrong. It will. And I know some of us are going to be like, yeah, whatever. But here, listen, if that's the lifestyle that you're living, and here, if you don't want to listen to it, that's cool. But if you're living a lifestyle where you're going from one person to another, and going over here, on down the buffet line, if that's how you're operating, there's a lot of unintended negative consequences that come with that lifestyle. You might say, what are they? We're talking unwanted pregnancies. We're talking about unwanted diseases. We're talking about callousness toward women. We're talking about a comparison of people from heretofore. We're talking an addiction to it, and on and on and on we can go. And listen, I know some of you don't want to hear it, but can we all agree with this, men? And here's my final point with this. Every lady in your life, whether it's your mother, whether it's your sister, whether it's your girlfriend or your future spouse, every woman that you meet, you need to treat with utmost respect and honor, period. You having fun yet? Anybody? If you are interested in maybe possibly having me come to your school or your organization, I'd love to talk with you after, so feel free to find me at some point. You can also look me up online at jerryackerman.net, my first name, last name.net. So I'd love to hear from you. Ladies, number 3. Ladies, number 3, the phrase, follow your heart, is probably the worst advice you could ever be given. Ever. I think about that. What if you actually did follow your heart to the 10th degree in every situation? Where would that land you except jail? I mean, what if you really did that? I do not like her, therefore I will kill her. They have entirely too much stuff, I will burn their house down. I mean, if you followed your heart in every instance, I'm not so sure that's a great plan to have. I have an 11-year-old son now. He is going to be a great dad and a great husband because you can say tampon in front of him and he doesn't flinch. I mean, just doesn't even flinch. He's going to be a great kid. He's smart. He's intelligent. In fact, he's one of those guys. He's one of those prodigy kids they're telling us, and we just do not want to tell him yet. We're like, no. He doesn't realize how smart he is. And yet, for as brilliant as Ben is, he is completely stupid. Just dumb. Case in point, 3 years ago when he was 8. When he was 8, check this out. When he was 8, all because he did not want to go to school that day, he tried to burn my house down. I was in it. I'm sitting in the front office there. Ben comes running through the house. He's like, something's on fire in the kitchen. I was like, what is going on? I jumped up, ran out into the kitchen, and we used to have this little plastic plant thing, and it was gone, and there was a little hole in the countertop and like a puff of smoke. My wife comes running down the stairs. She's like, what's happening? She sees this little post fire, and she's like, hey, I read something that all of a sudden sometimes there can be like this electricity that comes out of phone lines. And I was like, yeah. So I went back to my office. 5 minutes later, Ben comes running through the house again. The kitchen's on fire! I was like, why are you kidding me? Ran out into the kitchen. There is another spot. I don't know what. Now there's a hole in the countertop and a puff of smoke. My wife comes running down the stairs. I kid you not. She says, pull out all the phones. Pull them out. It gets worse. Because when you have a fire in your house, who do you call? Fire department, not Ghostbusters. Thanks for that. So the fire department comes. 4 guys with axes come in my house. We're all standing in the kitchen looking at these 2 little. I said, have you ever seen this? Like spontaneous combustion. I mean, it's like, it's true. It like happened. And they're just looking at me. And they see this little boy in the corner cowering. Mind you, I have kids running all around. And the one fireman, he leaned over to me. He said, hey, who's that over there? I said, that's Ben. He's my son. Got quiet for a second. He leaned in closer. He said, I think you have an arsonist on your hands. So embarrassed, I escorted the fireman out the house. I won't tell you what I did to Ben for the next 24 hours, but suffice it to say, listen, Ben, just like you, is capable of anything. I mean, your heart left unchecked, you can do anything. You ask him right now, how in the world could you have tried to burn our house down? He's like, I have no idea. And I tell you why he has no idea, because for a moment, he left his heart. He followed it, man. No questions asked. He followed his heart. And ladies, I do not think that's a good piece of advice. I think the best piece of advice, the better piece of advice is not follow your heart, but guard your heart. I think that's a better piece of advice. Are we number 3, guys? Yeah. Number 3, guys. Guys, this one will go over your head a little bit. Some of you won't catch this, and that's okay, but I don't think you've heard this very much, and unfortunately, I don't think you're going to hear it in the future very much. I alluded to it earlier, but I will say this, man, that your family, whatever family it is now or in the future, your family matters more than work. I've seen far too many men where work has trumped their family, and now they have everything they thought they wanted. And the only thing they wish they could have was their family back. Men, work hard. Do a great job. Do things with excellence. Make sure you are awesome at what you do and you're giving everything you have, but do not allow it to trump your family. I wish I could go back in time. You know, have you ever wished you could get some wishes, you know, just rub the lamp? And wish I had some, because I would love to go back in time. One thing I would love to do is talk with Steve Jobs. Just a few days before he died, I would have loved to ask Steve Jobs one question. I would have loved to say, Steve Jobs, Steve, was it worth it? I mean, it changed the world. This thing just changed the world. But Steve, was it worth it? Because by all accounts, Steve, in the last few days of his life, spent a whole lot of time in front of a crying family trying to explain to them why he sold himself out for a phone instead of them. And for all the good that Steve Jobs has done and how we try to emulate his work ethic, I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to come to the end of my life proud of all the things I did, and yet I trampled over those that were closest to me in order to get it done. Men, do not allow your family to be trumped by work. Ladies, number 4. Ladies, number 4. Ladies, do not ask a question if you don't want the answer. Especially if you are not emotionally ready to handle it, i.e., do you love me? Or, does this make me look fat? Listen, ladies, listen, I don't say this in jest, and I don't say this to ruffle your feathers. I say it to be perfectly honest with you. That's why I tell people not to invest in a relationship, don't invest in a business, don't invest in anything if you cannot handle the bad news that's associated with it, because there's always going to be bad news. There's always going to be an answer that you don't like. And I think leaders need to get into things realizing that there's good that comes with the bad, and we need to deal with all of it and have the professionalism and leadership to handle even those potholes that come into our life. So that's my caution to you for your number 4. Guys, your number 4. Men, this might be one of the biggest pieces of advice that I could ever give with you. I believe it's wholeheartedly true. Men, your number 4 is this. Whatever you've been asked to do a little bit more. You might say, well, what does that mean? That means if your mom wants you to pull a B in your English class, you kick, you scratch, you claw, you do whatever you can to get an A-. That means if your boss at work tells you to go sweep the front room, that you get a mop afterwards and you mop the back room. That means if somebody says, hey, can you come and help support me at this event? You go to every event. Make sure you're there every time. You always do a little bit more. I tell you what, it's one of the biggest secrets of successful people in this world today is by going a little bit extra. A little bit more than what's required, a little bit more that is always going to just show that person that you mean business. And it's also going to show someone that I didn't even ask for that, and there they were doing something above and beyond the call of duty. I want to be that person that does the above and beyond of everything that's asked of me to do. That's your number 4. I was told I only have till 12. I just have a couple minutes, so we're down to number 5. Truly the most important of the 5 here today. We'll start with the guys here. We'll end with the ladies. Men, you've probably picked up on the fact that I'm not a real sappy guy, so I don't want you to think I'm sappy here with this, but I do want to say what I believe is true, especially in this room. And some of you in this room are not going to truly believe what I'm about to say, even though you're dressed to look like it. But men, every one of you in this room, you are exceptional. Every one of you. And I know we're macho and we're like, yeah, whatever, what happened in the game last night? You know, we don't even want to talk about that necessarily. But I will say, listen, man, there's a ton of people in your life that love you. And sometimes we have this standard, they have this standard, and we fall short of that standard. Listen, men, never act less than the prince that you are or the king that you can become. That's it, number 5. Ladies, I have 4 daughters, like I said. One of them is 9. Ashlyn. And unfortunately, what I'm about to say to you, I have to say to her quite a bit. Through no fault of my own, it's just the world's gotten hold of her a little bit. And some of you in this room, the world got a hold of you even earlier than that. And for some of you in here, what I'm about to say, you need to hear it. Because you haven't heard it yet. And maybe you come from a home where there is not a male influence in the picture, and You wake up every day and you stare in that mirror and you wonder if it's true. Well, I'm here to tell you it's true. Your number 5 is this, ladies. You are beautiful and you are enough. Unfortunately, ladies, for the rest of your life, the world is going to scream at you that you are not enough, that you're not pretty enough, you're not tan enough, your teeth aren't white enough, you're not tall enough, you're not athletic enough, you're not smart enough, you're not enough. And on each and every account, you need to have the clarity of mind to realize that every one of them is a lie. Ladies, every one of you in this room, and you'll demonstrate it in these next 2 days, you have unique talent, you have unique skills, you have unique energy. In fact, the DNA experts tell us that there will never be another one like you, and there never has one before. So you have all the uniqueness wrapped inside of you to share with the world. And I truly trust that you would do that and never be told that you can't do it, because you can. Ladies, you are enough. Hey, thank you for having me on stage. My name is Jerry Ackerman. Thank you very much. Thank you.